The night sky lit up with strange lights above New York City. It wasn't a storm or airplanes or shooting stars. The massive ship that appeared was unlike anything humans had ever built. It hovered silently, its metal skin reflecting city lights. Below, Daniel Lewis stood on the roof of the United Nations building, his heart beating fast in his chest. As Earth's chosen representative, he had practiced this moment 100 times, but nothing could prepare him for the real thing. Next to him, Susan Taylor gripped a folder containing Earth's greeting messages translated into every human language. "They're really here," Susan whispered. "After all our years looking up at the stars." Daniel nodded. "And they chose to talk to us." The ship opened, and strange beings emerged. They looked almost like tall, thin humans, but with blue-tinted skin and eyes that seemed too large. They called themselves the Tarians, representatives of the Galactic Council. "We welcome you to Earth," Daniel said, trying to keep his voice steady. The lead alien, who called himself Diplomat Zorax, bowed slightly. "We bring greetings from 12 species who form the Galactic Council. We have watched your world for some time and believe you are ready to join our community of stars." News of the aliens spread across Earth like wildfire. People celebrated in the streets. Religious leaders claimed it was a miracle. Scientists cried with joy at the chance to learn from advanced beings. In the weeks that followed, the aliens set up meeting rooms at the UN. They showed videos of beautiful planets with amazing cities. They promised to share medicine that could cure cancer and technology that could end hunger. All they asked for in return were some of Earth's unique plants, animals, and art. Olivia Wright, a scientist from Chicago, was one of the first humans allowed to see the alien technology. She studied a small device that could clean polluted water instantly. "This is amazing," she told her research partner. "It breaks down chemicals in ways we never thought possible." But as she examined more devices, Olivia noticed something strange. The technology was advanced, but some parts seemed designed to fail after a certain time. Other pieces had strange components that didn't seem necessary. "Jack, look at this," she said to Jack Peterson, a military strategist assigned to her team. "This communication device has extra circuits that don't connect to anything." Jack frowned. "Maybe it's for features they haven't shown us yet." "Or maybe it's something else," Olivia said quietly. While most of Earth rushed to embrace the aliens, Jack used his security clearance to search for more information. He found records of other species that had joined the Council in recent years. In official videos, they looked happy. But something felt wrong about their forced smiles. "We need to be careful," Jack told Olivia. "I've studied how empires expand throughout history. They always come offering gifts first." But his warnings fell on deaf ears. 6 months after first contact, Earth's leaders gathered in a grand ceremony to sign the Treaty of Sol. Earth was now officially part of the Galactic Council. This marks a new chapter in human history, the UN Secretary-General announced to thunderous applause. Daniel Lewis stood on stage, smiling for the cameras, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. The Galactic Council moved quickly after the treaty. They built outposts on Mars and Europa, Jupiter's moon. They said these bases would help humans learn to travel between stars. Hundreds of young engineers and scientists were selected to work alongside the aliens. Daniel visited the Mars base 1 year after first contact. The facility was impressive, with domed buildings that could withstand the harsh Martian environment. But he noticed the human workers were only allowed in certain areas. "When will we start learning about your faster-than-light travel?" Daniel asked Zorax during a tour. "All in good time," the alien replied smoothly. "Your species must develop certain capabilities first. We don't want to overwhelm you." That night, Daniel overheard 2 aliens talking in a hallway. He couldn't understand all their words, but he clearly heard military capabilities and defense systems. Back on Earth, Olivia continued studying the alien technology. With each passing month, her concerns grew stronger. "They're giving us advancements in medicine and agriculture," she told Jack during a secure meeting in her lab. "But nothing that would help us travel to other star systems or defend ourselves." Jack nodded. "Classic strategy. Keep your new friends dependent on you for the important things." Olivia had also noticed small groups of aliens taking special interest in Earth's natural resources. They collected samples from the deepest oceans and densest forests, always claiming it was for scientific exchange. "I think we need to start our own research program," Olivia suggested. "Off the books, just in case." Jack agreed. They recruited a small team of trusted scientists and military personnel who shared their concerns. They established a secret lab in an old military bunker in Colorado. Meanwhile, Daniel became more troubled by what he was seeing. The aliens had promised cultural exchange, but it seemed to flow in only one direction. They took Earth music, art, and literature, but shared little of their own culture. During a diplomatic dinner, he noticed an alien examining a water glass with unusual interest. "Is our water different from yours?" Daniel asked casually. The alien seemed startled. "Your planet has remarkable resources. So much water, so many minerals. You are fortunate." The way he said fortunate sent a chill down Daniel's spine. Later that night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He walked to his office in the UN building and began reviewing all the agreements Earth had signed. Hidden in the complex legal language, he found concerning phrases about resource allocation and population management. As the 2-year anniversary of first contact approached, celebration plans were announced worldwide. The aliens promised new technological gifts to mark the occasion. But in her secret lab, Olivia made a disturbing discovery. The medical treatments the aliens had provided contained tiny machines too small to see without powerful microscopes. These machines weren't just healing people, they were changing them in subtle ways. "What are they doing to us?" she whispered as she stared at her test results. On Mars, Daniel stood at a viewport looking at the red landscape. Earth glowed as a bright blue dot in the distance. He thought about all he had learned and the growing knot of fear in his stomach. What do they really want from us, he wondered, as he watched an alien ship descend toward the Martian surface, larger than any he had seen before. 5 years passed since the aliens first arrived. Earth had changed. Gleaming alien technology sat in every major city. New medicines cured diseases that once killed millions. Cars ran on clean energy, and food grew in places that were once desert. The aliens were heroes to most people, but not to everyone. Captain Eric Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the starship Defiance. It was Earth's first military vessel built with alien technology. The ship looked small compared to council vessels, but Eric felt proud of it. The Defiance circled Jupiter on what the aliens called a training mission. Eric didn't trust the aliens. 5 years had passed and humans still couldn't travel to other star systems. The council always had excuses. "Your bodies need more preparation. The technology is complex. Soon." "Captain, I'm picking up something strange," said Lisa Campbell, his communications officer. Her fingers moved quickly over her screen. "There's a signal bouncing between the alien outposts on Europa and Ganymede." "Can you hear what they're saying?" Eric asked. Lisa shook her head. "It's encrypted. They don't know we can detect it at all." She paused. "But I've been working on breaking their codes." Eric raised his eyebrows. That wasn't part of their mission. In fact, the council had strict rules against humans studying their communications. But he nodded for her to continue. "I've only decoded fragments," Lisa said. "But I heard phrases like harvesting schedule and species containment. Captain, they weren't talking like allies." Eric's face grew dark. "Keep working on it. Tell no one else." Back on Earth, Kevin Grant worked late in his lab. As a geneticist, he had spent years studying the medical treatments the aliens provided. Tonight, he finally had results that confirmed his fears. Under his microscope, he could see tiny machines in a blood sample from a patient treated with alien medicine. The machines were changing human cells, altering them in ways that weren't about healing. "They're making us different," he whispered. He increased the magnification. The machines seemed to focus on brain cells, changing how they connected to each other. Kevin had tested hundreds of patients. The effect was subtle but clear. People who received alien treatments became more accepting, less questioning. Kevin quickly saved his data and prepared a presentation for the United Earth Council meeting tomorrow. He had to warn everyone. On his way home, Kevin called his friend. Olivia right. I found proof, he said quietly. You were right all along. Can you send me your data? Olivia asked. She now led a secret research division that studied alien technology without council knowledge. Too risky over the network, Kevin replied. I'll bring everything tomorrow after the council meeting. That night, Kevin's lab exploded. News reports called it a tragic accident. Kevin's body was found in the rubble along with his destroyed research. Olivia watched the news with tears in her eyes. This was no accident. She had lost a friend, but she had also lost valuable proof about the aliens' true plans. The next morning, she received an anonymous package. Inside was a small drive with a note. Kevin sent this before he died. The drive contained some of his research data, not everything but enough to continue his work. On Mars, Daniel Lewis stood in his quarters, thinking about his years as Earth's representative to the Council. He had gained their trust, or so they thought. In truth, Daniel had been gathering information, watching the aliens' every move. His door chimed. Another Council representative, Zorax, entered. Good news, Daniel, Zorax said. The Council has decided Earth is ready for the next step in our relationship. Daniel smiled politely. That sounds wonderful. What does the Council propose? As a sign of peace between our peoples, the Council requests that Earth reduce its military forces by 70%. Daniel kept his face neutral, but his heart raced. That's a significant request. What does Earth receive in return? The continued protection of the Galactic Council, of course, Zorax replied as if the answer was obvious. The universe is dangerous. Small planets like yours need our protection. I'll present this to Earth's leaders, Daniel said. They'll need time to consider. Zorax's expression hardened slightly. The Council expects a positive response within 30 Earth days. After Zorax left, Daniel encrypted a message and sent it to a secure channel. The message contained one word: sundown. It was a code that Olivia and Jack would understand. The CU Council had finally shown its true intentions. On the Defiance, Lisa Campbell worked through the night, breaking more of the alien encryption. As morning came, she rushed to Captain Rodriguez with her findings. Captain, I've decoded more of their communications, she said, her face pale. They call Earth Harvest World C-3721. They have plans to take everything, our resources, our people, even our DNA. Eric reviewed her findings with growing anger. Have they done this before? Lisa nodded. To at least 17 other species. All of them thought they were joining a peaceful federation. Eric clenched his fists. We need to get this information to Earth immediately. But as the Defiance changed course for Earth, 3 Council ships appeared from behind Io, one of Jupiter's moons. Captain, they're hailing us, Lisa said. A Tarian face appeared on the main screen. Vessel Defiance, you have violated restricted space. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Eric knew what would happen if they were boarded. The aliens would find Lisa's decoded messages. No one on Earth would ever know the truth. Battle stations, he ordered quietly. Prepare our special package. The crew moved quickly. They had trained for this moment, hoping it would never come. Sir, we can't win against 3 Council ships, his first officer said. We don't need to win, Eric replied. We just need to send a message. The Defiance accelerated toward the space between 2 Council ships. Weapons fire erupted around them, rocking the ship violently. Shields failing, someone called out. Just a little longer, Eric urged. Lisa, is the transmission ready? Lisa worked frantically at her station as sparks flew around her. Almost got it, transmitting now. The transmission contained everything they had learned about the Council's true plans for Earth. It went not to the usual channels, but to a hidden receiver in Olivia Wright's secret facility. As the ship shuddered under another hit, Eric gave his final order. Abandon ship. Get to the escape pods. The crew scattered, running for their lives as the Defiance continued its suicidal path between the Council ships. Eric stayed on the bridge, making sure the transmission completed. The last thing he saw before hitting the escape pod button was the message confirmation. Transmission received. Olivia Wright stared at the screen in her underground lab. The message from the Defiance played again, showing Captain Rodriguez's grim face as he explained what they had discovered. Her hands shook as she paused the video at images of alien documents describing Earth as Harvest World C3721. "We need to show this to everyone," said her assistant. "Not yet," Olivia replied. "The Council has people everywhere. We need to be smart about this." She sent a secure message to Jack Peterson, who now worked as a military advisor. His reply came within minutes. "Meet at location Delta. Bring everything." Location. Delta was an old bomb shelter beneath a closed factory. When Olivia arrived, she found not just Jack, but 20 other people, scientists, military officers, and government officials who had grown suspicious of the Council. "The aliens lied to us from the beginning," Olivia told the group, showing them Captain Rodriguez's message. "They've done this before to 17 other species. They pretend to be friendly, then take everything, resources, technology, even people." The room fell silent as they watched the evidence. Then General Alan Thompson stood up. He was the highest-ranking military officer in the room. "We've suspected something like this for years," he said. "That's why we created Protocol Thunderbolt." "What's Protocol Thunderbolt?" Olivia asked. Jack explained. "A plan we developed in case the aliens turned against us. We have sleeper cells around the world, military units, and civilian experts who can act quickly if needed. We also have this," Alan added, nodding to a young man at the back of the room. Paul Martinez stepped forward. He was an engineer who had worked at the Mars base until 6 months ago. "I stole some of their technology," Paul said, "and I've been improving it." He opened a case to reveal strange-looking weapons and devices. "They think we're just copying their tech, but we've been adding our own ideas. Human creativity is something they didn't count on." Olivia felt a spark of hope for the first time in days, but it died quickly when her phone buzzed with a news alert. "The Council just announced that Earth must give up its weapons within 48 hours, she told the group. "They say it's for our own safety." "It's starting," Jack said grimly. "They think we're weak enough now to control completely." "What about Captain Rodriguez?" someone asked. Jack shook his head. "The official story is that the Defiance had an accident. Council ships are helping search for survivors." As they discussed their options, the lights flickered, then all their phones lost signal at once. "That's not good," Paul muttered. "Alan, check to secure radio." "Reports coming in. Major power failures in cities worldwide. Council ships are moving into position above New York, London, Beijing, and other capitals." "They're making their move," Jack said. "We need to activate Protocol Thunderbolt now." Alan nodded and began sending coded messages to his contacts. Within minutes, military and civilian operatives around the world received their orders. Meanwhile, Daniel Lewis sat in an emergency meeting at the United Nations. Council representatives had just announced they were taking control temporarily to help with the power crisis. "This is for your own protection," Zorax told the assembled leaders. "Once order is restored, we will discuss the next phase of our relationship." Daniel noticed how some world leaders nodded too eagerly. He suspected they had received more of the aliens' medical treatments than others. When the meeting ended, Daniel slipped away and found a secure phone that still worked. He called a number he had memorized years ago. "The Council is taking over," he told the person who answered. "They have ships above every major city. They're calling it help, but it's an invasion." "Understood," the voice replied. "Get to safety, if you can." As Daniel left the building, he saw Council ships landing in the streets. Aliens emerged carrying weapons they had never shown before. They began rounding up police and military personnel. Across the world, similar scenes played out. But in many places, something unexpected happened. Human soldiers who seemed to surrender suddenly attacked the aliens. Civilian workers at Council facilities sabotaged equipment. Council ships found their systems failing for no apparent reason. Protocol Thunderbolt had begun. In her underground lab, Olivia received reports from around the world. The resistance was fighting back, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. "We need something bigger," she told Paul. "Something that will really hurt them." Paul thought for a moment. The Council uses a neural network to communicate. Their ships, their weapons, even the aliens themselves, they're all connected. If we could send a message directly into that network— What kind of message? Jack asked. Something to make them afraid, Paul replied. These aliens have conquered 17 species without any real resistance. They've never faced an enemy who fought back effectively. Olivia remembered something from Captain Rodriguez's transmission. The Council species are linked mentally. They feel collective emotions. If enough of them feel fear, it could spread like a virus, Paul finished. But we'd need access to their main communication hub. General Thompson studied a map showing Council positions. There's a major hub at their Luna base. We'd need a ship to get there. I might be able to help with that, said a new voice. Everyone turned to see a man standing in the doorway. He was thin and looked exhausted, but Olivia recognized him immediately. Captain Rodriguez, she gasped. We thought you were dead. Eric, Rodriguez stepped into the room. Nearly was. My escape pod was picked up by a fishing boat in the Atlantic. I've been making my way here ever since. He looked at the plans spread across the table. I see you're planning something big. I want in. We need a ship, Jack told him. One that can reach the moon without being detected. Eric smiled slightly. Before the Defiance was destroyed, my crew and I hid something. A prototype stealth shuttle we modified with reverse-engineered Council tech. It's not big, but it's invisible to their sensors. Hope filled the room again. But then the building shook as explosions sounded in the distance. They're bombing the city, someone said. They're looking for us, Alan corrected. We need to move now. As they gathered their equipment, Olivia looked at the faces around her. Scientists, soldiers, and ordinary people ready to fight for Earth. The Council had made a serious mistake. They thought humans would surrender easily. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The hidden shuttle bay opened beneath an old airplane hangar. Captain Rodriguez led the small team inside where a sleek black ship waited. It looked nothing like Council ships or human craft. Its shape seemed to bend shadows around it. This is the Shadow, Eric said. We built it in secret using parts we stole from Council ships. They don't know it exists. Paul Martinez walked around the ship, admiring its design. How did you hide this from them? We used their own technology against them, Eric explained. The outer skin absorbs sensor signals instead of reflecting them. To their scanners, this ship simply isn't here. Olivia, Jack, Paul, and Lisa Campbell boarded the Shadow with Eric. Each carried special equipment for the mission. As they strapped into their seats, Eric fired up the engines. They hummed softly, nothing like the roar of normal rockets. The Council has ships patrolling all around Earth, Eric warned. Stay quiet until we clear the atmosphere. The Shadow rose smoothly through the open bay doors and into the night sky. Above them, Council ships moved like slow fish in a dark pond. The Shadow slipped between them, completely invisible. Once they cleared Earth orbit, Eric increased speed. The moon grew larger in their view screen. The main communication hub is on the far side of the moon, Lisa said, checking her data pad. The Council built it there so Earth telescopes couldn't see it. As they approached the lunar surface, they saw the true scale of the Council's presence. Massive structures covered large areas of the moon's far side. Ships moved between them like busy insects. They've been here for years, Olivia whispered, building all this while pretending to be our friends. Eric landed the Shadow in a dark crater near the main hub. The team put on spacesuits designed to look like Council worker uniforms. Each helmet had special features Paul had added to help them blend in. Remember the plan, Jack said. We get in, plant the device, and get out. No hero stuff. They walked across the lunar surface toward the hub. Council workers moved around the base, not giving them a second look. Paul's fake IDs worked perfectly. Inside the hub, they found a massive room filled with blinking equipment. This was the central brain of the Council's communication network. Everything they said to each other across the solar system passed through, here, over there. Lisa pointed to a central column glowing with blue light. That's the main processor. If we connect to that, our message will reach every Council ship and base in the system. Paul removed a small device from his pack. It looked simple, but inside was the most advanced technology humans had ever created. It combined council systems with human ingenuity in ways the aliens never imagined possible. This will let us broadcast directly into their neural network, Paul explained. The message will bypass their conscious minds and speak directly to their instincts. What exactly will it say? Eric asked. Just one word, Olivia replied. But it's not the word that matters. It's the data package that comes with it. Jack kept watch while Paul connected the device to the central processor. Suddenly, alarms began to sound. They've detected us, Lisa warned. Council security forces appeared at the entrance to the room. They carried weapons and moved quickly toward the team. We need more time, Paul said, still working on the device. I'll give you time, Jack replied. He and Eric moved to block the entrance, firing the special weapons Paul had designed. The energy blasts disrupted the aliens' neural connections, causing confusion in their ranks. Olivia joined Paul at the processor. How much longer? Almost there, Paul answered, fingers flying over the controls. The system is fighting back. More council forces pushed into the room. Jack took a hit to his shoulder and fell back. Eric continued firing, but they were outnumbered. Now or never, Olivia told Paul. Paul connected the final wire and hit the activation button. The device hummed to life, pulsing with energy as it connected to the council network. It's working, Paul shouted over the alarm sounds. The message is going out. Throughout the solar system, on every council ship and base, communication systems suddenly switched to emergency mode. The neural networks that connected all council members lit up with activity. A single word appeared in their minds. Run. But the word was just a carrier. Behind it came a flood of data, detailed scans showing human weapons hidden on council homeworlds, ready to destroy their civilizations. The scans were fake, created by Paul using council technology, but they looked completely real. The data also showed something else. Plans for weapons the council had never seen before. Weapons that could target their neural networks specifically. And finally, the transmission showed what had happened to the 17 other species the council had conquered. It revealed the lies, the harvesting, the enslavement. This part of the transmission went not just to council members, but to every conquered species in council space. For the first time, they all saw the truth. On the moon base, the council forces suddenly stopped attacking. The aliens looked at each other in confusion, then fear. It's working, Lisa said in amazement. They're receiving the transmission. Council ships in orbit began changing course, moving away from Earth. The aliens on the moon base started running toward their ships, no longer interested in the humans. They believe we actually have weapons on their homeworlds, Jack said, holding his injured shoulder. They think we can destroy everything they care about. And they just told all their slave species how they've been lied to, Olivia added. The council is about to have bigger problems than just us. Paul disconnected the device. We need to get out of here. This base will be abandoned soon, but it might self-destruct. The team hurried back to the shadow. All around them, council, workers rushed to evacuation ships. No one tried to stop the humans. As they flew the shadow back toward Earth, they saw the council fleet breaking orbit, ships scattering in all directions. Look at them run, Eric said with satisfaction. It won't last forever, Lisa warned. Eventually they'll realize the weapons aren't real. By then it won't matter, Olivia replied. We've broken their control over the other species. We've shown everyone what they really are. Jack looked out at the stars. We've started something big today. The council has ruled through fear for centuries. Now they're the ones who are afraid. As Earth came into view, they saw council ships pulling away from the planet. The invasion was over before it had truly begun. The Shadow's communication system crackled to life. General Thompson's voice came through. The council forces are retreating worldwide, he reported. Whatever you did up there worked. Get home safe. We have a lot of work to do. Olivia smiled for the first time in days. Yes, we do. We need to prepare for what comes next. What does come next? Paul asked. Freedom, Eric said simply. And then justice. 6 months passed since the Council fled Earth. The planet looked different now. Council buildings stood empty. Their technology remained, but humans had taken control of it. In every major city, people worked to understand the alien devices and make them truly their own. Olivia Wright stood at the window of the new Earth Defense Headquarters, watching ships fly overhead. These weren't Council ships but new vessels built by humans using what they had learned. "The Defender fleet is almost ready," General Thompson said, joining her at the window. 10 ships, each better than anything the Council ever showed us. "How long until the first interstellar mission?" Olivia asked. 1 month. Captain Rodriguez will command the flagship." They walked to a large meeting room where Paul Martinez waited with his team of engineers. On screens around the room, they could see similar meetings happening in cities across the world. For the first time in history, all nations worked together with a single purpose. "Show me what you found," Olivia said to Paul. Paul activated a holographic display showing a map of nearby star systems. "We've decoded the Council's star charts. These red dots are worlds where they enslaved other species. The map showed 17 red dots scattered among the stars, and we've received signals from 12 of those worlds," Paul continued. "After our transmission, rebellions broke out across Council space. Many slave species have overthrown their Council overseers." Jack Peterson entered the room, his injured shoulder healed now. "Our scouts report that Council forces are in chaos. Their leaders can't agree on what to do next. Some want to strike back at Earth. Others want to crush the rebellions. They're fighting among themselves." Daniel Lewis, who had returned from New York, nodded in approval. "That gives us time to prepare. The Council ruled through unity and fear. We've taken both away from them." Olivia studied the star map. "Have any of the freed worlds contacted us directly?" 3 so far, Lisa Campbell replied, joining the conversation. She had become Earth's chief communications officer. The Fraxians, the Narabi, and the Wendari all want to form alliances with humans. "Can we trust them?" Jack asked cautiously. "I think so," Daniel answered. "They were victims just like us. Some have been enslaved for centuries. They see us as liberators." "General," Thompson pointed to a distant star on the map. "Our long-range scanners show a Council fleet gathering here near their central worlds. They're preparing for something big." "War," Jack said simply. Olivia nodded. "We always knew this was coming. The question is, are we ready?" Paul smiled confidently. "More ready than they think. We've been improving their technology in ways they never imagined. The shadow was just the beginning." He pressed a button, and the display changed to show a new weapon system. "This disrupts their neural networks at a distance. It won't kill them, but it will stop them from fighting. And we've made contact with resistance groups on worlds still under Council control," Lisa added. "They're waiting for our signal to rise up." Outside the building, a crowd had gathered. People from all walks of life had come to hear the day's announcement. Olivia and the others moved to a balcony overlooking the square. General Thompson stepped forward to address the crowd. "People of Earth, 6 months ago, we faced extinction at the hands of those who pretended to be our friends. Today, I'm proud to announce that the first ships of the Earth Defense Fleet are ready. Next month, we will travel to the stars not as tourists or servants, but as equals." The crowd cheered loudly. Among them stood people who had received the Council's medical treatments. Special care centers had been set up to help them recover from the changes made to their bodies. Many were now healthy again, free from alien influence. After the speech, Olivia met with Captain Rodriguez near the new shipyards. The massive shape of the flagship Retribution gleamed in the sunlight. "She's beautiful," Olivia said, admiring the ship. "And powerful," Eric added. "More powerful than anything the Council has." "Are you nervous about the mission?" she asked. Eric looked thoughtful. "Not nervous, determined. We're not just fighting for Earth now. We're fighting for all the species the Council enslaved." As they walked toward the ship, they passed a memorial wall. On it were the names of those who had died during the brief Council invasion, including Kevin Grant, whose discovery had cost him his life. "He would be proud of what we've accomplished," Olivia said softly. Inside the Retribution, final preparations were underway. The bridge hummed with activity as crew members tested systems and checked equipment. Many of them had served on the Defiance before its destruction. Lisa Campbell looked up from her communication station. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from deep space. It's from the Fraxian Resistance." "Put it on screen," Eric ordered. An alien face appeared. The Fraxian looked similar to humans, but with silver skin and large eyes. "Greetings, humans. Our forces have liberated 3 more worlds from Council control. We await your fleet's arrival to coordinate our next moves." "Tell them we'll be there as promised," Eric replied. "Earth stands with its allies." After the transmission ended, Eric turned to his crew. "In 1 month, we leave to help our new friends. The Council thought they could make us run and hide. Instead, we gave that word back to them." Later that evening, Olivia stood on a hill outside the city with Jack, Paul, Daniel, and Lisa. They watched the sun set over a world forever changed. "Do you think we'll win?" Paul asked the question they all wondered about. "The Council ruled for thousands of years," Daniel said. "They conquered countless worlds. They won't fall easily." "But they never faced humans before," Jack pointed out. "And they certainly never faced humans working together with all their former slaves." Olivia looked up at the stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Somewhere out there, the Council prepared for war, but so did Earth and its new allies. "We'll win," she said with quiet confidence. "Not because we're stronger or smarter, but because we're fighting for freedom, not power. That makes all the difference." As night fell completely, lights from the shipyard illuminated the massive shape of the Retribution. Soon that ship would carry humanity's hopes to the stars. The Council had come to Earth expecting to find easy prey. Instead, they had awakened, something they couldn't control. The last light of day faded and the stars shone brightly overhead, no longer distant and unreachable, but destinations on humanity's new journey.